Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Hot Takes, your favorite Watch League podcast. I am your host, VictorSV, and I am joined by,
I'm Pain.
And I'm Ryu.
and we will
You're
be
what?
discussing today the Overwatch World Cup. Now, the first team on the list is Team China. They were runner-ups last year, and however this year they're missing their star player leave. How do you guys think this will affect them?
Mhm.
Well,
Well, leave.
what do
You
you
go
think?
ahead first.
Okay, well, thank you. Well, there's no denying that Team China obviously has talent. I mean, we've all seen the Hunters play, the Spark play, and the Charge play, and all of them do have good Chinese talent. Charge has Eileen, Spark has Gushwei, who I have to remind you was a top 5 candidate for MVP of the regular season. And like they also have Jinmu, who I really want to talk about because Jinmu is a projectile god. We've all seen that clip of him when on when he's on Hanzo and he just has those perfect headshot flicks. Like I'm not worried. Like leave may be a flex god, but I think there's enough talent on there for China to have some sustainability.
Hmm.
I really don't think they're going to be hit too hard by it because they have enough talent that I I don't think it's going to be too hard on them. Like, uh,
Considering that, Eileen's probably going to be playing Doomfist for them, isn't he?
that is his primary hero. Yes.
So probably be so correct me if I'm wrong. So their starting lineup will probably be Eileen on Doomfist, Jimmu on Reaper, Elsa on Sigma, Gushui on Orisa, and what are the supports again?
Moira, which would be Kyo, and Yveltal on Lucio.
That sounds
If
like a
the
pretty good
meta
scenario to
is
me.
the same as playoffs.
Do you guys see any weaknesses in this line? Because we see plenty of strengths, like especially in the DPS line. The DPS line looks killer. And any weaknesses you guys see?
Honestly,
Personally, I think the DPS are fine. I think the weakest spot is the off tank. While Elsa is good, he's consistent. He doesn't ever particularly stand out. He's always a decent player.
So let's say right now your team, let's say Canada or UK, and you have to face Team China. What if you're a coach right now? What would you do? What would you guys say is their biggest weakness? What are you guys going to go capitalize on?
I don't think that they need to focus on the weakness, the exploit. Team China has a lot of talent, and if you try to exploit just one weakness, you're going to be left open, especially in such a meta where Doomfist is so like strong. Like Eileen has a good Doomfist, yeah. Jinmu also has a godlike Doomfist. So you have two star Doomfist players on, and you need to do what the Shock did in playoffs, and you need to shut down their Doomfist. You cannot allow Jinmu or Eileen, whichever one is on Doomfist, do anything.
Either one will be highly destructive on the hero. They could just straight up shut you down. Now, something that I do want to point out about Team China is that they might go to second place this year again because if you look at the group stages, the second group is alone with the only competition there is Team Canada. It's not the best. I don't know. What do you guys think about Team Canada this year?
I I think it's gonna be. I think they're just gonna be the same as last year. But I don't know if I have the faith that they're gonna be placed top three this year.
Yeah, I mean either they just did the same lineup they got last year. All right, good for them. I don't see any weak. XQC is perfectly fine. Apparently he's catching up according to Fusions, but
I mean, like, Note hasn't looked that great recently. He didn't look great in the tryouts, and he hasn't looked all too great in the Overwatch League after joining Dallas. But it could have also just been the um, how Dallas has been as a team, because there are rumors that Dallas weren't exactly uh, the best for the players mentally.
Uh, Canada's whole shtick right now is if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And this lineup has worked for about 2 years in a row. Um, and I gotta say, I agree with that. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I do think there is a glaring weakness that everyone needs to pay attention to, and that's the coaching. We don't have Jane this year. Jane, Jane may be a good coach, but he opted out of coaching, and so one of the assistant coaches of his of normal Team Canada's could come up. I don't know his name, but it's a brand new coach, and
Take a
so
TT.
we really don't know if he's going to be like as effective as Jane was. It's hit or miss.
Yeah, however, I do want to point out that Jane is still on that team. He's the GM, I believe, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the GM. I mean, the thing is,
Yeah.
Jan took the GM position so that way Ticket T could have the head coach position. And if he did let him there, I presume Jane did have the faith that Ticket T would be able to perform well.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's that much of a weakness or something we should point out because Jane, Canada had a good showing last year, and if Jane trusted Ticket T enough to be able to perform as what the same results or higher, I don't see a problem with it.
I don't see it as Jane trusting Tikati, but I see it as Jane doubting himself because when he said, like in his post, I remember, he said that he didn't feel more any confident enough to coach his team, so he wanted to get Tikati. But something that I do want to point out is that this team, yeah, they're gonna maybe they're gonna get to the group stages, but I don't think they're gonna place maybe even top five this year because they
No,
look.
no, they're 100% placing top five. I
No,
have no
I think they're
doubts.
definitely going to place top five.
I don't
Like
know that
the
some of these
lowest would be
teams.
top four, like
They
top four.
have too much individual talent to
Yeah,
flop.
I mean,
like
And they've all played with each other before, so they already have synergy. Uh, all that's left really is where the coach is going to take them and going to tell them how to play, and if the meta fits them. Personally, I think the meta fits them just fine. Agilities and Shift have a great hero pool, and Mangachu is always there to back up in case they need a specialist. XQC and Note are like you don't even need to talk about him. It's XQC. He's a legend. Bonnie and Crismo, I don't know about. Maybe they're social. I mean, social. Their
I
support
mean,
line could use some work.
Crimso's really good. Bonnie,
Crimson's
we
really
haven't
good.
seen him much this year, so
Yeah, we don't really know.
According to what I've heard, like some analysts who do watch, like, have actually rated Crimzo above Myungbong, who's a top tier Korean sorry
Korean
Korean
flex support
supports
on
for
OG
Korean
Blast,
Flexus.
yes.
Yeah, apparently they're rating him over, so maybe he'll pop off. However, if you want to look to the south of Canada, we have Team USA coming in for round three this year. What do you guys think of this team? They're looking pretty good.
I mean, I can make the same argument everyone else would about Rockus being the biggest question about USA, but it's also been said that Rockus is the I don't remember if it was captain or shot caller or just both. So while I don't think Rockus is absolutely the best player compared to Dogman and Sleepy, if he is able to provide a good mental place for the team and like able to lead them or whatever his job is, I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah, also on top of that, even if you have Rocket there, he's on Moira. However, if you want to look at the rest of the team, it is explosive. You have Corey, a role star at DPS. He was amazing. He single-handedly basically took out the Vancouver Titans. We have Sinatra, this year's MVP. Like, how crazy, the MVP and Corey are both starting on the same lineup. We have Super, who was amazing. And we also have Moth, one of the best main supports in the league. Like, this team is looking like it's gonna might take second place or first.
All right, you wimps, listen up. Now, someone play Star Stripes, Star Spangled Banner. Just imagine that there's Star Spangled Banner playing in the background. Now, we may have finished in the quarterfinals, kicked out like last 3 years, but that doesn't matter. Because we're America, damn it. And America always wins. It doesn't matter who's on the enemy team. We have Sinatra, Corey, the other DPS, which is not listed here. I have no idea
KSF.
who it is. KSF?
KSF.
KSF? KSF?
KSF.
Yeah, yeah.
Not
We were
Stratus?
we were all for the same thing.
Oh, you
Not
telling me we got
hydration or
KSF
Dante.
instead of Stratus or hydration? Nah, yeah, America doesn't make top five. No,
Wait,
no,
what? No, wait,
no
what?
Stratus, no win. No Stratus, no win.
What?
No
Why
Stratus, no
would
win. I was gonna
why
give
would
this
you
amazing
do
speech
that?
about how America could do everything, and then I was gonna go into Stratus and how he the ability to become Hokage, and he's going to use the strength of the nine-tailed fox that is sealed inside him to pop off on Doomfist. But now I don't even have a Stratus. How
But
am I
you
supposed to
see,
deal with this?
he's cheering from the sidelines. He's a team's moral support. Like he's getting those massage in the
Have
back.
you seen Naruto the anime? Does Naruto ever cheer on the side? Every time he cheers on the side, someone gets their ass whooped.
Um, I disagree.
Unless it's Rock Lee, because Rock Lee. Rock,
But
all right.
on the other side though, on the other side, if we want to go to another America moment, we can look at space. However, people we don't know what Space's Sigma is. However, I want to do point out something.
I've watched his
Rec-
stream. Sigma is sick.
yeah, exactly. Like apparently, even though we haven't seen it, we can assume it's really, really good. Because, but currently, when the Valiant just sold them off, now there was a high bidding war for space, which probably they've been seeing in the script. So if you don't have a good Sigma, you probably are not gonna get like on high bidding wars.
No,
So
no,
this
no,
guy
no,
must
no.
have a sick Sigma. That's
No,
all I'm
no, no,
saying.
no, no. Let me tell you about space. Okay, space is so freaking raw that he just messes with absolutely everybody. Space is going to single-handedly carry his way to finals, even without Stratus. Bro, he's like Rock Lee from Naruto. He could beat people up with no ninjutsu whatsoever. It's just his raw fucking strength that he's got. Everybody is going to catch Space's hands if his hands were gravitational orbs. Let me tell you about it. His hands are rated E for everyone. That's how badass he is. Right? He's gonna destroy. Okay. America.
Interesting.
Oh say can you see?
I have. All right. Let me. All right. So actually, something else I wanted to point out about this team is Moth. What do you guys think he's gonna do for this team? Because
I mean,
you just mentioned that the Rockets is
he,
shot calling, but Moth is a shot caller for Shock. So what's going on here? Like maybe the reins
I
are being
mean,
passed over.
Rockets could just be captain, just like SVB is captain, but it doesn't particularly mean it's shot caller, and it doesn't. Moth is, he's gonna be the same god as he always is. Moth is,
That is fair.
I think he's the second best main
Moth,
support.
Moth is Moth is in my opinion the best main support, and I'll tell you why. It's because he's American. All right, he's got that American blood inside of him. And with that American blood, he can do something so amazing it'll astonish everybody. It's that uh, American mindset. Okay, we threw tea into the harbor, and now we're going to throw Overwatch in Korea's face, like an actual computer playing Overwatch into Carpe's face. It doesn't matter. Okay, he's American, and that's how we're gonna win.
Exactly. America. Fuck yeah. All right.
Exactly, right? Yeah, I know.
Like
Rockets is a little weak though. I'm not sure why we took
yeah,
Rockets
but
over like
yeah,
say
but
you
he's
were
a warrior.
talking.
He's a warrior. He's fine. He's fine. He's fine. He can't do anything.
I guess. I guess.
Another team that we gotta talk about though, is before we get to the big boys, we gotta talk about sorry. So first we gotta talk about before we get to South Korea, we gotta talk about Team France, the Pepegas of this year. All right, they're looking actual, like they're looking. If Dividing were here, he'd say a tier 2 team in a tier 1 tournament.
I mean, the thing is, the meta is not good anymore. France is not gonna make top 5 this year.
Well,
I
you
mean, they
know,
got yeah.
we gotta. Let's be honest here. We don't really know anybody who's on this team. Like the last update that we got about this team was that Poco was replaced with someone named Tech 36. And if you look at their entire roster, you literally only have Soon. Soon is the only owl level talent. And if you look at Team France last year, they had Ben Best, who was on the Eternal, Poco, who was on Fusion, AKM, and Unko, who were on Fuel. And yet, none of them are there except for Soon. Like they have some guy called Hardest Leaf, two DPS dudes that we never seen before unless you watch Contenders. Maybe they're good on Contenders. I don't know who watches Contenders. No one. You have Hip, who is on Eternal. Um, I
That
forgot
was
that he was
good. I
Owl
know.
level talent. That's how good he was at Owl. Uh, a
Hip
main tank
was
named
worse than his
Chubbs.
face.
And Chubbs
I don't know. I
isn't
have a
bad,
good
to be
feeling about
fair.
Chubbs. Chubbs sounds like a good main tank. I like
I've,
him.
I've
I
watched
like
him before.
him.
He's not bad.
Yeah, Lee, from what I've heard, is a very good DPS player. However, that's like the only part that I see is good about this team as a DPS line. And like, I do not care that Leaf and Soon are somehow gonna pop off by some miracle. They are gonna probably get knocked out in the first round. Like, they're put in the same. Their group is the same as USA and South Korea. Like, they don't stand a chance. All right,
Well, the thing
quote
is,
me
like,
on that.
I
Quote
don't
me.
think France is overall the same level as some of the higher teams, but I do see them as a bit of an underdog where they could surprise us a little bit.
I don't see
Underdog. I think they're overrated.
Team Ireland could beat
I
their
don't think
ass.
they're overrated at all.
I
I
think next
think
year
people.
Team France is going to get replaced by Team UK.
Ooh,
Probably.
If
Honestly, like
they
Team UK makes
they
the
should
most
already
sense.
be replaced by Team UK. Team UK is like I really like Team UK's lineup, but we talked about that last week. This is
Yeah, I like Team France probably gonna knock out on the group stage by USA and South Korea just teabagging on. It's not gonna be pretty. It's gonna be a pretty big disappointment, just like last year. Because last year they were playing, oh yeah, the goats gods or whatever. However, they had a bad player this year, and this year they just like last year they had a bad player who didn't want to team. I don't know what the whole situation was. I just know it was a bad team environment. And this year just looks even worse. I don't have any trust. Like I don't even know who the coach is this year. Who was it? It's not Feifei. Who was it? It
Damon.
doesn't even matter who.
I don't know.
If it's Damon, if it's Damon, they're dead. They're just dead. So moving on to the last team that we have to talk about today is Team South Korea, the three-time champions, winners of all three World Cups. You know, they've been coming in like you think, oh yeah, they're gonna lose. They're gonna lose. Oh yeah, they're being taken to the map by UK. Oh yeah, look at Team China, they're gonna beat them. Oh look, Team USA. No. Team South Korea has stood for what they believe for their country for 3 years straight. Is this the year they lose? Opinions, thoughts.
I don't think
Uh
we can. This happens every single year. I don't think we can say Team Korea are definitely going to lose. I do see USA as being a very high chance that they could take the gold this year, but I
USA,
don't think we should
USA,
be so quick
USA.
to jump the gun,
I'm
especially after us having questions every single other year about Team Korea, and then they end up blowing everybody up anyways.
I'm gonna say like when I first heard about the top seven, the lineup for South Korea, I was really surprised because mostly because of my team's Carpe was actually part of the top seven. I thought he wouldn't even make it when you have great DPS players like Prophet and Fleta and Libero and so many other people. Like even Rascal. Rascal's Korean, right? Yeah, Rascal. Or Striker. Like anybody part of the shock. But no, you go with the mediocre fusion and their quote unquote star player. You think I'm being rude? I'm a fusion fan. Um, Other than that, like it looks pretty good. Hawksaw and Architect are two very great players. Hawksaw was our 2019 Rookie of the Year. Our Architect, everyone knows Architect. Who's part of the Shock powerhouse. The tanks, Mano and Choyobin. Mano, I'm a little bit iffy on. I mean, he didn't do bad, but like I feel like Smurf or Bumper would be better. Or Tizzy. I don't know. It's Mano. Choyobin, MVP, obviously the best choice. The supports are really what I want to talk about because IDK is fine, but like Bedozin, really? Like not even
Bro,
not
Dude,
Violet,
dude,
not
dude.
Twilight, not
I know you
Kree,
have
Did
to
you
not.
laugh,
watch
but
the show match earlier?
No, I did not.
Bedosian's a nut. Like he genuinely popped off. Like I
Bedoya,
have absolutely no questions about Dojin this year.
Really?
I have genuinely no doubts. Like I have complete faith in him.
Like
I
Badoshan,
not
see no
not
problems
even
with
for
the
Kareem, not even for Violet, not even for Twilight or Jonak.
Kareem is
I
inconsistent and
I
Violet
don't know.
can't play on. Badoshan can play both of those roles and he can shot call. Badoshan is by far the best choice. Secondly, Badoshan. The reason I see IDK in there is because Bad- Badoshan and IDK, I see they have like some more similar play styles than let's say Animo and Badoshan. Like they're both more aggressive than the rest of them. And Kareem's just more inconsistent, so I don't see why not. Like who else would they take? Twilight's apparently not even that good with the Titans when I just he seems like the best choice. Also, if you want to look at something really cool, during the Spitfires championship run, the change that they made in between that Gladiators game was that they gave Vidocin shot calling. Like they said, you know what, Vidocin, wait, it's a Hail Mary, you go shot call now. Go shot call. And they won. So why not?
All right. Well,
What?
my confusion mostly comes from Carpe coming in as the secure DPS instead of Decay, who was a contender for Rookie of the Year. Like Decay has been consistent all season and honestly just good. The Gladiators got the top six. No,
I
not
didn't like
even.
the KDC, honestly.
I
In
mean,
my
to be
opinion,
fair, Fusion wasn't in the best state this year, so
yeah,
it could have just been Carpe not being particularly motivated just throughout the
Carpe,
season. And it's been said before, a lot of Fusion weren't particularly
excited.
mentally not sound, but I don't know how to word it. It wasn't the best team culture, I guess.
Yeah. They were just like, all right, can we end the season now so we can go full Korean?
We don't know
Something
if they're
like
going
that,
full
sure.
Korean yet.
Pain, you gotta accept that they're going full Korean. Now, before
We'll
we move
talk
off
about this.
that,
But we'll talk about this. There's
next
just
episode.
one more point I wanted to bring up,
Mm,
and this is the main reason why I think South Korea is going to secure their throne for the fourth year in a row, and it is Krusty and 9K. Krusty is the
oh,
head coach
Jesus
of
Christ.
South Korea from the Shock, and 9K is also formerly from the Shock, now with Eternal, I think.
Yeah,
And
Eternal.
For episode 4.
um, these two coaches whipped this team into literally the best team anywhere of the entire league. It's ridiculous how much they did for Shock, and it's going to be ridiculous how much South Korea is going to be carried by their coaching.
Legit, if it wasn't for Krusty, I would be like, all right, maybe Team USA can come in, somehow undermine them. They have Sinatra, Super. They can pull some crazy move out. Corey can switch on to Widowmaker last second and win. But I honestly think you can't beat Team South Korea with Krusty, all right? Like, it doesn't matter what they're running. It doesn't matter if like they're running the stage 2 Florida Mayhem. If Krusty is that coach, I will not doubt it for a sec.
Yeah,
Like,
and meanwhile, USA has Arrow again, and I'm not so sure about Arrow's performance,
yeah,
especially what happened with
Aero.
Fuel.
Yeah, I don't think Aero might. He's not gonna pull through. Like for what I heard though, from what I heard, if this does make anyone feel any better. Team USA scrims this year were apparently super intense, downright to the bone. Like they were like making these players go through hell and back to get these spots. Like apparently Aero was not pulling any punches, and Harsha is the assistant coach for this team. So that's another plus. They have Harsha, who's now the head coach of the Outlaws.
I mean, I've heard nothing but good things about Harsha.
Yeah.
I While there are questions to be had about Arrow, I don't think it'll be enough to fully detriment the team. I think these new like Super Sinatra Moth after this super successful year on the Shock, I don't think they are the same players they were last year. I
Oh,
think they will genuinely change themselves, and I don't see any situation where they choke.
speaking of change, I actually want to bring up something which it's a bit of limbo between two topics. Haskell and Mono and the both entire support line. They're being coached by Krusty, and from all we've heard, Krusty has like had giant effects. What does this like Krusty being on this team? can do for the future of our. Because let's say Krusty like beefs up Haskell to a point of no return, where he has this whole new understanding of the game. How is that gonna affect future
I mean,
seasons?
it's not that he gives. It's about the work ethic he gives the players. It's about like we are in this as a team. We are not. We are here to win as a team, not to compete for the top spot. If you get what I mean.
Yeah,
That's how they like Nevix worked with Troy. Nevix was supposed to be the Sigma for them in the finals, in the playoffs, but Nevix was able to coach Troy Hoban enough where Troy Hoban ended up playing for him instead. Like
all
I,
right. So that's all the top five teams. However, before we close out, any closing statement? Let's start with you, Payne. Who do you think rank the top three right now? Who's gonna make it to who are the top three?
Well, if USA could get past their quarterfinal curse, I'm a supernatural man, so probably not. My guess is once again, South Korea is going to finish off first place. Um, I don't know who's gonna end up on what side yet, so like it depends on the sides. But I think for second and third place, I'm gonna say Team USA and I'm gonna say Team China. Those are my top three.
For you?
I mean, I have enough faith in the American chalk players. Like I genuinely think this is USA's year. I
Oh, so
I
are you
think
about to say what
USA
I think
take
I'm about to
first.
say?
USA
Oh,
take first. South Korea second. China third. I have
you
faith
know
in
what?
USA this year.
I am about to say something that I don't think I would say. I'm agreeing with Ryu. All right, Team USA. They got that patriotic sense. Team Korea. They out here looking cocky, sweeping Gen G. I think I'm with you. That's superstition. Korea is meant to lose their show match, right? That means that Team USA is gonna get past their curse of the quarterfinals. They're gonna battle it all the way, kick kick Team South Korea out in the quarters and win the entire thing. That is why my ranking is Team USA, Team South Korea, and not Team China, but Team Sweden in third.
Oh,
All right, so that is all the time we have today. Thank you guys for watching the show, and Andrew, did you end the recording?